Good afternoon, YouTube. How are you today? Things are going pretty good. It's about 5 o'clock, and I'm back here in the lovely room at the Galloway. It's a little early. We got done at 3 o'clock today, which is a nice change of pace as compared to the schedule we've had since we started. One of the reasons we got out, well, I should say the experienced drivers got out at 3 o'clock. Because the student drivers have a bunch of things that they need to do, and videos and a couple of lectures and things that they need to cover that we don't, because, well, they're new drivers and they're all things that we already know, or things that they don't have to cover with us. I do believe part of it is CMV and a couple other things. I know one item that they're going to be doing this afternoon is something we covered in our regular orientation class. But things are progressing nicely here. Today is Sunday, so the new crop of orientation people came in. They have 24 in this week's class and only 3 experienced. It's my understanding that a couple people didn't show up for the orientation that they were supposed to. But that really doesn't affect me, which is kind of a good thing. The only thing I wish is that I was still staying at the Maverick. Even though it's really nice here at the Galloway, the beds are much nicer. And the way they keep things up, it's really, really nice. But the Maverick Hotel has infinitely better Wi-Fi than the Galloway. I think at the Maverick Hotel, I was getting about 50 megabits per second up and down. And here at the Galloway, when the Wi-Fi is working, I'm getting about 2.5 to 3 megabits. And sometimes not even that. It's pretty bad. I've had to use my LTE data to upload the last couple of days' videos. Probably going to have to do that with today's too. But what we did today is we started off the morning in class. Breakfast for us was late because the new orientation people were going to be in the cafeteria for quite a while before they were broken up. We started with cargo-linked securement procedures, basically dealing with how we secure loads that are length-based as opposed to just weight-based, because some things like coils are kind of compact generally, and other things like bar takes up a lot of space, and you have to figure out your weight base and your length, and you have to adjust, because whichever one needs more securement, then you have to go with that one. Sometimes you need more securement because of the weight, other times you need more securement because of length. We started off with Shiny Bar, and for those that don't know, Shiny Bar is, well, just that. It's finished metal bars. What they do is they take a bar after it's done and it's all rusted and dirty from sitting outside in some yard somewhere for however long. Take it inside and they run it through a machine, and it polishes all the gunk off of it and adds a layer of oil to it, so it's really, really shiny. And they use it for lots of things like pistons and dump truck connector cords, for the buckets and things like that. Something that has to be really, really strong. Well, after we went through the discussions of that particular type, we went to breakfast finally about 7:45, I think it was. I was getting pretty hungry by then. Today was scrambled eggs again, along with ham, sausage, and biscuits and gravy. Same thing we had last Sunday, which kind of really wasn't a surprise. After breakfast, we went back upstairs and we discussed Gray Bar, which is unfinished metal. It has a different securement method to it, even though it's pretty much the same thing. You just have to treat it differently. Basically, you have to treat Shiny Bar like it's a precious commodity, and Gray Bar like it's trash. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what it boils down to. You only use straps on Shiny, and you can use chain on Gray. After that, we dealt with linear, steel, and mixed secured loads. Basically, when they just throw a bunch of junk on your trailer, and you have to work on how to get it all secured using belly wraps and all kinds of other things that I'm really not going to get into based on what I'm doing with these videos. But suffice to say, linear so far, just trying to what would be the way they're doing it, or the way it ends up getting put on your trailer, is probably the hardest to secure, because generally the things are not the same length, they're not the same size, and it could be all kinds of mixed things. You can get I-beams mixed with gray bar, mixed with whatever. Of course, it's kind of easy in the training facility because we use plastic pipe to simulate all this material for bars and linear. But I can imagine that getting to a place and they just dump a bunch of stacks of I-beams on my truck, and I just got to figure it out for myself. Once we finished with that discussion, we headed down to the training base and started working on all that. They broke us up into groups as usual. And luckily for me, my main partner, who is also my roommate, stuck with me, and so we worked together with another guy, and it moved pretty fast for us since we really kind of already figured out what we're doing and have no problems getting the thing taken care of. Generally, if we make a mistake, it's something stupid that's easily corrected. I think like earlier we set one of our straps over the rail when it's supposed to go under the rail. Just kind of idiot things like that you wouldn't do normally, but it's just something in the heat of getting things done. So we worked the shiny bar setup, and we ended up doing that one twice. And I think that's because the lead trainer just wanted us to do it again. And then we did a gray bar, and the gray bar was perfect the first time. Once that was done, we took a break and went to lunch. Today's lunch was a departure from what I figured would be a continuation of exactly the same thing we had last week. But we had cheeseburgers with baked beans and chips today. I will say this: it wasn't very good. I mean, it was filling, but the meat was tasteless, and it was really, really greasy. And since you had to put it yourself together, the meat was in a pan or in a container that held all the patties together, and there was just full of grease. And in fact, it wasn't even warm when I finally got it. I was not next to the last person to eat, and it wasn't warm, so I had to take it and put it in the microwave to heat everything up. I just wasn't very impressed with it. So I think tonight I'm going to order Chinese food again. One, I love Chinese food, and two, this place down the street, it's not too bad, and it's not exactly expensive. Once lunch was done, we headed back into the training base, and we worked a linear steel setup. And me, my partner, and the other guy that was working with us, we knocked ours out in about 20 minutes. Of course, it would probably take longer for one person when you got 3 people working on it. It worked pretty fast. But unfortunately, it seems, I guess fortunately, really, because we got done fast enough and graded fast enough that the lead trainer who's teaching today sent the 3 of us out to take the company vans that they used to run back and forth from the Galloway and let students and people in orientation use to go to Walmart or go out to eat or whatever. Take them down to the pilot, put fuel in them, run them around, check, make sure everything's working on them, including make sure the tires are aired up and all that jazz. And then brought those back, and we took care of that, and then we had a break on top of it because they were still working on that. It took us about 30 minutes or so to get all that taken care of, and when we got back, they were still practicing on their linears. Once that was done and they started to do cleanup, the instructors kind of split people up into 2 groups. My group and a couple of others, about maybe 8 of us, started clearing out space in one of the back classrooms. I don't remember which classroom it is. I think it's 7 or 8. To prep, I think it is 8, prep up the room for tomorrow's DOT physicals and stuff that the new orientation people are going to be going through. That took about an hour, as well as the other half stayed in the bay and cleaned the bay up completely, and then started setting the stuff up for tomorrow. Because tomorrow we're going to be covering all the other little things that do not require a ton of focus. Containers, lumber, sheet metal, and other things like that have a standardized way of doing it, and something they want to cover and they will work on, but is not necessary to have as intensive studying as coils, which is the bulk of what Maverick pulls, from what I understand. And those are the hardest. Those are what they want to focus on more than anything. These other things are stuff that we carry, but it's not that often we see it, or not that often that you're going to see it. And of course, if you've at least learned the basics, then you can always go on the MCP 200 and watch a video or read the book on how to do that particular kind of load. In addition to that, almost everybody took 20 minutes or so to sit down at the MCPs and do their homework assignment, which is sending in their free-form messages, test messages, so we can prove we know how to send a blank message to our fleet manager, as well as running through a 5-step process of picking up a load, checking in, arriving at a shipper, picking up a load, confirming our ETA, arriving at the shipper, and then being empty. We have to do this particular 5-message system 5 times using 5 different trip information and bills of lading. I knocked mine out in about 20 minutes. I've never used the MCP before. Once I had a chance to look at it, it's just like any other tablet. It's fat, it's ugly, and it's got a built-in keyboard. Once all that was done, we headed back up to the classroom about 2 o'clock, and we watched a couple more videos on securement techniques, and they were actually videos we should have watched in the morning. But one of the instructors who was leading today he's not feeling too well, so it kind of slipped his mind that we needed to watch those videos before heading down to the bay. It didn't do any harm, to be honest. Being able to watch the videos on a computer to see how they do it perfectly every time is nice. The only thing, my only complaint is, I guess their servers are overloaded, or they got too much stuff going on, or they just need to upgrade the local network, because it seems like when the videos have to buffer a lot, and there's a couple of them that we've had to just load them, hit play, and then pause it and let it buffer the complete thing out before we were able to watch it. And that was pretty much it. It was a pretty quick day. Like I said, 3 o'clock, they told us to bug out. They told the experienced drivers to bug out. So we all hopped in a van and came over here to the Galloway, and we're done for the day. Tomorrow we have to do the sheet steel and all that stuff and things like that. And I do believe tomorrow we have our written evaluations to take in the afternoon. I'm not sure about that. I could have swore that I heard a mention of that, but like I said, I'm not quite sure if that's true. In addition to that, Tuesday, the day after tomorrow, is when we're supposed to do our practical exam. So they call CLEP, C-L-E-P. Sounds kind of like a dirty word or a disease of some kind, but we do our CLEPs on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we're supposed to do some kind of other thing and meet our fleet managers. We'll be turned over to operations on Wednesday. And this is what I understand, that subject to change, and you'll find out in the videos. We're supposed to meet our fleet managers on Wednesday and get our trucks on Thursday, because we'll be out of here, because the next class of flatbedding starts on Thursday. Now, 2 of the guys that are in the experience group are going on to glass training, and I'm not doing that. They don't offer glass where I live, so I won't be doing glass training. Thank the Lord, because I don't think, much as I like it here, I don't think I could take 4 more days of training. I just couldn't do it. I'm about ready to get home and see my wife and kids, at least for a little bit, before I hit the road and become a menace to myself and everyone else trying to pick up coils and bar, until I get some experience. So that's all I have for today. I hope you find these videos informative, if not fun. They're fun for me to make, and I enjoy doing it, and I will continue to do it. So take a moment, subscribe, follow me here on YouTube. If you have any questions, post them down in the comments, or send me an email, or find me on TTR. I'm more than happy to answer questions. I get 3 or 4 a day in one of those different venues, and we will continue on this little journey. And if you, like I said, if you have an inkling to come to Maverick and you want to be generous to me and my family, go ahead and put me on your recommendation. Won't mind. And if you don't do it, that's cool too. I'm all for it. It just helps me and my family. And I think that'll probably be the last time I save that for a while. So everyone have a good evening. Keep the shiny side up. 73s. And I will talk to you tomorrow.